This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Good evening, everyone. The Premier has elevated Speaker of the Lower House, Elise Archer, to Cabinet in a major reshuffle for the government 6 months out from the election. Will Hodgman announcing Vanessa Goodwin, who is battling a serious illness, will resign, with a by-election due for the seat of Pembroke.
Good morning, everyone.
Walking into a new cabinet position, Speaker of the House of Assembly Elise Archer elevated in a major reshuffle for the government.
It presents as an opportunity for renewal.
The Premier outlining his new-look cabinet since the sudden resignation of Matthew Groom. Alongside the news, Vanessa Goodwin won't be returning to Parliament, battling a serious illness.
Vanessa has always put our state and its government first, and she has been an exceptional minister and MP.
In the reshuffle, Elise Archer takes on the portfolios of Justice, Corrections, Environment and Parks and the Arts. Will Hodgman, now the Attorney-General, Peter Gutwin to take on State Growth and Guy Barnett responsible for Energy, a cabinet reduced from 9 to 8.
Clearly, the Premier does not see any depth in his backbench whatsoever. He hasn't elevated anybody to join him on the front bench. Instead, he's just shared the workload across his existing ministerial workforce.
I will put our strong and stable unified team, our 8 in Cabinet and those outside it, up against what is a shell of an opposition of just 7.
An important promotion for Elise Archer just 6 months out from an election. Opportunity for a heightened profile in an expected turbulent seat of Denison, alongside a predicted hung parliament.
I think the balance is right and the Premier has made the right decisions for our entire team.
Going into an election, you don't want too many new hands on the levers.
The typical swing seat of Pembroke left empty by Vanessa Goodwin expected to go to a by-election by early November, with both major parties promising to put forward candidates.
It will be fought out as if this is a straw in the wind that will show what the state election is doing or is likely to do.
The new cabinet will be sworn in on Monday. Lions MP Mark Shelton to be nominated as the new Speaker of the House.
I was hopeful and a call from the Premier last night. I was very pleased to receive the call.
Jacqueline Robson, Southern Cross News.
A parliamentary gaming inquiry has delivered a landmark report into Tasmania's poker machine sector. It's recommending a significant cut to the number of pokies and the end of Federal Group's monopoly on electronic gaming.
A report in hand, 12 days of public hearings and 150 submissions later.
I'm pleased with the report. I think it's reflective of the diversity of views that we have in Tasmania about EGMs.
The chair of the parliamentary committee says the process changed his mind, and even though the report doesn't back a ban on electronic gaming machines in pubs and clubs, he would.
Personally, I do believe, and I wasn't at the beginning, but hearing the evidence and going through the process and understanding, I believe that it should be confined to the casinos and the TT line.
As the state reaches the end of Federal Hotel's monopoly on poker machines, today guidance on how the government should move forward. In a raft of recommendations, it includes reducing the number of pokies by a significant amount, work with communities concerned about the number of gaming machines in their area, allow the Federal Group to keep its casino licences, but move to a venue operator model for pokies. That would mean poker machines in pubs and clubs could be owned by the venue itself instead of the Federal Group. It's something the government says it will consider.
One of the things that we've always said in regards to putting the licence out to the market for post-2023, that we would consider a range of options, and that's obviously one of the options that we can consider.
While Scott Bacon, Labor's member on the committee, voted in favour of significantly reducing poker machine numbers, the Labor leader says the party is still to form its policy.
We'll take the opportunity now to use that report to consult with all stakeholders, to engage with them constructively.
The Federal Group and Hospitality Association have proposed a deal to allow pubs and clubs to own and operate poker machines if there's a reduction to the tax rates for Federal's casinos.
We as community organisations see the harm it does across all sectors. We see it through the people that come through our door every day, which is why we're taking a very strong stance that they need to be removed, not just from particular areas, but from the entire community.
Federal says the industry supports thousands of workers, but opponents say that comes with a cost. The committee found high numbers of gaming machines tended to be in lower socio-economic areas.
The ongoing loss of finances, the ongoing wrecking of our communities is down to, in some cases, poker machine proliferation in our poorest suburbs.
To be clear, we've always said that we would not be shutting down pubs and clubs, that we believe that an appropriate reduction in EGMs is 150 in 2023.
The Federal Group and Hospitality Association were unavailable for interview. Both said they'll take time to consider the report. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A New South Wales man who attempted to smuggle the drug ice into Tasmania in his underwear has been sentenced today. Jean-Michel Christophe Wimmer was arrested at Hobart Airport after sniffer dogs located the illicit substance in a random drug sting. Our reporter Jacqueline Robson has the details.
The 33-year-old was sentenced to 4 years jail after pleading guilty to drug trafficking charges back in May this year. Jean-Michel Christophe Wimmer was found with 500 grams of methamphetamines known as ice after arriving in Hobart off a flight from Sydney. Sniffer dogs located the drugs concealed in his underwear in a random sting, with the quantity having an estimated street value of more than $500,000 due to its high purity. The court hearing Mr Wimmer was suffering from a drug addiction and was working as a mule for a larger commercial drug operation. The New South Wales man pleading guilty at an early stage with hopes of carrying out his sentence as soon as possible to return to his fiancée suffering a brain injury. Mr Wimmer will be eligible for parole after serving half of his sentence.
It's been labelled as an historic moment in the state's sporting history, and today North Melbourne's CEO visited Hobart to reveal more details surrounding the club's partnership with Tasmania as the Kangaroos prepare to enter the AFL women's competition in 2019.
The beginning of a new era for women's football in the state.
The name will be the North Melbourne Tasmania Kangaroos. For the games that we play in Tasmania, we'll be wearing the jumper that has the Tassie logo.
As promised, half the side's home games will be played in Tasmania, but venues are still up in the air. UTAS Stadium is the likely one for northern games, while North Hobart and Kingborough Ovals remain the two for the south, with Blunston Arena unavailable due to cricket. As for the club's dedicated Tasmanian training base...
And we're looking at where the talent pool is going to be located to make it easier to get to training. So if most of them are in the north or northwest, then that might be a natural location. So we'll work through that detail. If we're playing games down here, the Melbourne group will come down, train with the local girls here in the lead up to a game, and vice versa.
Delena reiterating the commitment to eventually have half of the side's playing group made up of Tasmanian talent, but he was quick to point out that won't happen overnight, with just 4 Tasmanians currently in the league.
And it's getting those girls up to that AFLW standard so that they can play on the national stage.
The state government will do its bit by providing $500,000 per season from 2019, and the Premier says he's more than satisfied the historic deal will prove mutually beneficial.
The AFL for the first time ever will be investing as well into Tasmanian grassroots footy.
It's meant to reflect the joint venture's nature, so you've got both names represented in the side on the premiership ladder.
Tasmania Police are urging footy fans to do the right thing this Saturday, with extra officers set to be out and about tackling antisocial behaviour around bars and pubs across the state.
We want everyone to be able to enjoy themselves, and for that small minority that are intent on causing antisocial behaviour, acting unruly, we'll be down on force on them.
Mobile patrols and booze buses will also be operating, focusing on drink and drug driving. 21 workers at the Tasmanian clothing company may be at risk of losing their jobs. The Sprayton-based manufacturer, which has a store in Launceston, had announced this morning it may need to close as early as tomorrow due to increasing insurance premiums. But this afternoon, owner Graham Davis confirmed, thanks to community support, the company will remain open for at least 2 months. It's now hoping for state government support to ensure jobs are safe long term.
I've asked the Secretary of the Department to make contact with the company. We're prepared to work with them. We have been working with them. It's a two-way street though. If the company's prepared to work with us, we'll see what we can do.
The company is one of the last remaining clothing manufacturers in the state. After a 3-decade hiatus, music royalty Sir Elton John has returned to Hobart as part of his Australian tour. The flamboyant entertainer rocking the Derwent Entertainment Centre last night with a number of his well-known hits. Returns for another performance tonight with limited tickets still available. A group of refugee and migrant women from across the world have come together to showcase their culture. Some women sharing their journeys of escaping war, violence and persecution through fashion.
It was all glitz and glam as these refugee women showcased their culture through fashion. A display of extraordinary colours and outfits, each with its own story.
This is an opportunity to show my culture and show who I really am and my background and show other people and tell them about my stories.
The fashion show is in its 3rd year and aims to celebrate cultural diversity for women around the world. With most new to Tasmania, organisers say it's a safe space for women to share their powerful stories.
Giving women from refugee and migrant backgrounds an opportunity to talk about their experience in being an Australian and try to mediate the experiences and cultures of their homeland with an Australian experience as well.
There's stories of war and hardship among these women, but this fashion show aims to forget about all that and focus on the culture that brings these women together.
Our main message is that it's okay if people wear different dresses. They're not any different from other people. They just have different culture and different background, and we want to everyone to have respect for other people.
The show is an attempt to close the gap between ethnic minorities and the broader community. Afghani refugee Ghazal Hassani says people sometimes think she's part of an extremist Islamic group.
Some of Australian people are scared of us because we're wearing a hijab and they thought we are bald, we don't have a hair.
The women-only show will be held at the Tramshed Auditorium tomorrow night. Rita Risk, Southern Cross News.
Hundreds of the state's youngest singers are tonight making their voices heard, performing as part of the 9th annual Singfest concert. 8 school choirs took to the Albert Hall last night and another 8 are about to take centre stage.
They say practice makes perfect, and for these 300 students, months of rehearsals are about to pay off.
Well, it's been pretty nerve-wracking because I've got a solo in one of our songs.
The students from 8 primary schools across the north have combined to put on tonight's 2nd Singfest concert of 2017. Today was the first time they've all practiced as one.
Singfest is all about bringing lots of kids together from the public schools and the private schools, and we all join together in song.
It's a really good experience to hear other kids sing. I think it's really fun to be a part of something that's this big.
The concert aims to let the children perform in a non-competitive environment.
A lot of the kids who do choir might not excel at other things at school, but this might be the thing which gives them the confidence.
Tonight's concert has just started, but Singfest is expected to be back next year.
I imagine so, we're planning on it.
Monika Dadson at Southern Cross News.
Former Tasmanian war hero and Victoria Cross recipient Sergeant Lewis McGee has been honoured today. Fighting in the First World War at 29, he gave his life to save others. Students from his hometown were recognised for their consideration of others with a special memorial medallion to mark the occasion.
The medallion is awarded to 2 children in the area, one from Avoca, one from Campbelltown, and it's to recognise the values that we see in Lewis. You know, Lewis stood up for his king and empire. He stood up for his mates.
Head start bleeding, so I put my hand so it doesn't drip everywhere, and I help other people in London's growing up.
The event marks 100 years since the mission where Sergeant McGee earned his Victoria Cross. Looking at the day's business and finance with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund, the share market has ended the day modestly higher, while the Australian dollar has dropped to its lowest level in more than 2 months. The ASX 200 index has risen by 6.1 points. A short time ago, our dollar was trading at 78.19 US cents and 66.6 euro cents.
Star Launceston forward Sonny Whiting has quashed speculation he's leaving the club because he doesn't get along with former Devonport coach Mitch Thorpe, who's likely to sign with the Blues for 2018. Whiting admits he has had talks with other clubs, but says at this stage he's staying put. It's the question on Blue supporters' lips. Will Sonny stay or will he go?
Yeah, no, mate, I've definitely had some talks with other clubs and stuff, but the way we sort of finished off the year and what I can see is going to happen next year, I think it's going to be hard to leave, so I definitely think I'll be still down there.
But the goal magnet admits he was tempted to play in one of the state's other leagues in order to train less and focus more on life outside of football.
Body's getting a little bit sore as I get older, so it's a bit harder to recover every game, but you know, I think we'll have a sit down, have a chat to Sam, and I think we can work something out just through training and managing the load. I think the feeling around the group's pretty high at the moment, so she's definitely going to be a very exciting season ahead, I think.
As for the rumours circulating that the Blues veteran will pack his bags if Mitch Thorpe decides to join the club, Whiting played it coy at first.
Oh, I think he'd be a great addition to any team, wouldn't he?
But was then quick to put an end to the speculation.
No, we can keep that rumour going though if you want, but no, that's definitely not true. We usually have a game of golf every now and then, so I think we go all right.
If Thorpe is in navy blue next year, it's likely he'll join Whiting down inside the 50, making it one of the most dangerous forward lines in the TSL, providing, of course, the pair can gel.
Yeah, I think we'll go all right, as long as he doesn't say too much.
Good evening. Well, looking around the back of the cupboards today, I think I found myself a nice little weather pointer. Hobart 16 today, Launceston a top of 17, 13 for Burnie and Devonport a top of 15 degrees. Friendly Beach is the high with 20 as showers cleared most of the state overnight and this morning. A few persisted over the west and far south today. St Helens 19, Bushy Park and Campania 15, Lowhead, Grove, Strawn and the Islands 14, Wynyard 13 and just 9 at Lyawini. A northwest cloud band with embedded thunderstorms stretches from the Indian Ocean all the way through central Australia to out over the Tasman Sea. We also have a little bit of cloud over the Bight and southern WA and our region caused by onshore winds. The close-up shows low-level clouds streaming over Tasmania from the west and scattered over the east of the state. Tomorrow another front crosses the Bight with a ridge of high over the mainland. Inland troughs continue over WA. Winds west to northwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the south and later to 35 knots over the west and south. Swells up to 5 metres in western and southern waters. Gale warning for waters between South East Cape and Stanley, a strong wind warning for remaining coastal waters, a small craft wind alert for the lakes. And a sheep grazier's warning for King Island, the Furneaux Islands and many parts of mainland Tasmania. Heading into tomorrow, a late shower or two for Hobart, becoming windy, 16 the top, 15 for Huonville, a possible late shower for Campania, 16 the maximum. Launceston showery, 15 the high, 14 for Devonport, becoming windy in the afternoon, same for Georgetown with 13 degrees. Burnie, showers and wind, 14 for Strawn, becoming windy 2 for Wynyard, 14 degrees. A shower or two in the east for St Helens, 16, partly cloudy for Swansea, 17 the top and 16 for Port Arthur. On Saturday, early showers contracting to the west, far south and Bass Strait. Snow to 300 metres early. Mainly fine on Sundays, with the showers retreating to the west and far south of the state. And mostly sunny on Monday, apart from a light shower over the west. Partly cloudy in Perth tomorrow. A shower for Adelaide and Melbourne, top of 19 in Melbourne. Fine in Sydney with 26 degrees and a nice warm 33 in Brisbane. Partly cloudy and 12 in Hobart, 12 right now in Launceston, Devonport partly cloudy and 11 degrees. Joe, funny story about this, found it in a cupboard at home. Jack, our son, threw it out many years ago when he thought Richmond would never be in a grand final. He's back on board now.
I'm just wondering what you're going to bring into work tomorrow. I'm scared it might actually be your wife as the Tiger mascot. Thank you very much, Rev. Well, that's all from the team for now. Have a lovely evening. We will see you a little later. But we'll leave you now with a snapshot of Elton John's concert last night. Thanks for joining us.